once again, and today I'm not that well, so I'll finish fast. Other teachers are also there. So, what is the purpose of this workshop? Our upcoming classes, which we are going to start from 12th of February, both for the optionals as well as for general studies. Now, all those who are thinking for 2025, this is the right time to start. You can start anytime, but when you can do the things properly and smoothly, that is an issue, because there are various stages of preparation. It is not just one stage. You have to first know the things, then you have to understand the things. Our memory is also short. We tend to forget the things. You will have to do multiple revisions. Then only you will be in a position to solve the questions as well as to whether it is prelims questions or it is mains questions. It always appears that time is enough, but if you see level of competition and the level of content that is to be covered, time is never enough. This I can say. And of course, in all my workshops, I always emphasize on that whatever you do, it should be a serious attempt. Fine. You should be very serious in whatever you are doing. Serious in the sense that when you are investing your time and money, it should get translate into the results, because forget money, time is very important. You are at this stage where you could have done something else also, but when you are doing, you should understand the value of your time. And another thing is, doing UPSC is not a cakewalk, because again, if anything is easy, I will say it is not worth doing. And if something is worth doing, UPSC is something worth doing. Everyone knows the level of competition. So definitely it is not going to be easy. So it will require lot of preparation and understanding. After teaching so many students, I have understood some common challenges students have. First of all, the way students study. I have found majority of the students, they remain confused throughout the preparation, because you are not confident about what you are doing. So you keep on searching for the strategy, searching for the content, and ultimately what happens? Our biggest asset in any exam, what is our biggest asset? Confidence. Fine. So nothing should impact our confidence. That is important. And if you are not confident about what you are doing, if you are not confident about your notes, if you are not confident about your approach, then the type of spirit which is required, the type of motivation which is required for clearing this exam will not be there. So everything, it is always said, well begun is half done. And you have to understand what all is to be required. There has to be a strategy from day 1, day 2, day 3. You should know at what point of time what is to be done. So, what should be your approach? See, the first thing is you have to select your optional paper. I take political science, Kritika ma'am is here, she takes history. We have Upendra sir who takes sociology. So, whichever subject you feel comfortable with, the teacher you feel your frequency matches, you go with preparation of your optional. But optional and GS preparation should go side by side for different reasons, because there is always an overlap. Your general studies perform या make the base for your optional, whichever optional, and whichever optional you study, that will provide you a perspective to understand the things. And every subject is very interdisciplinary. It is up to you and how smart you are, that how much you can make use of these two things. Another thing is why you should do these two things together simultaneously, because this is going to save your time. Again, in this exam, your biggest asset is your confidence, and the biggest resource you have is the time. And time is actually how, in a how much valuable sense you can use your time, that matters. So everyone has an equal time, but how can I multiply my time? How can I multiply my time? Tell me. What is the rule of a competition? You perform better than others. You also have 24 hours. This person also has 24 hours. How will you make the difference? Pardon? How will you make the time effective? Other person is also doing, you are also doing. Get extra time. You can get extra time. Can you get extra time? What is the way to get an extra time? My competitor has, let us say, 18 hours of study, and I also have 18 hours. This will even out. So I need to study, let us say, 2 or 4 hours more. So I need to borrow time and have some extra time. What will be the way? What you can think about it? टाइम कैसे निकालोगे या एक्स्ट्रा कैसे? आपको एक्स्ट्रा करना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि यूपीएससी क्या है? एलिमिनेशन है, सिलेक्शन थोड़ी है, एलिमिनेशन है. आप हमेशा ये सोच के जाओ कि यूपीएससी सेलेक्ट नहीं करने वाला है, हमको एलिमिनेशन से बचना है, ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोगों को एलिमिनेट करने वाला है. एक फॉर्मूला दो जिससे कि आई मल्टीप्लाई माई टाइम, I work more than my competitors, so that it's a CSAT question, let us say. You have a formula. Think. कैसे बढ़ाओगे? How are you going to increase your time? Have you heard about smart work? You require smart work. You don't require hard work. What is that smart work? How will you make your work smart? You don't know anything about smart work, hard. What made you think that you will go for civil services preparation if you have not done this much of homework also? What is a smart work which everyone says? You know you require smart work. What's that? Less efforts, more results. Fine. So how are you going to do that? Being consistent, no. You need to be smart actually. Fine. So Machiavelli, you all know Machiavelli. What he says? A prince has to be clever like fox. Clever means it is not enough for prince to be wise. It is not enough for prince to have knowledge. You also need to be smart. So what is, whom do you call smart? Do you have a definition of a smart person? You consider yourself smart? No. You are smart. What is the basis to say so? एग्जाम छोड़िए, आप अपने आप को स्मार्ट समझते हैं या नहीं समझते? या आपको ऐसा लगता है कि बाकी लोग आपसे स्मार्ट हैं, वो आगे चले जाएंगे? हैं? अभी तक आपको लगता है आप स्मार्ट हैं? आप कैसे? उसका कोई एग्जाम्पल तो बताइए. अपनी स्मार्टनेस का एक केस स्टडी बता दीजिए, एक इवेंट बताइए. मान लीजिए इंटरव्यू है, इंटरव्यू में आपसे पूछे, डू यू थिंक यू नीड टू बी स्मार्ट? आर यू स्मार्ट? You'll say yes. If you are smart, then only say yes. If you are not smart, don't say. It's not necessary that if a person is not smart today, he cannot be smart tomorrow. Why you have such a ego to say I am smart, but you cannot substantiate any of the instance which proves you are smart? No one is smart here. तुम हो स्मार्ट? अगर स्मार्ट नहीं तो कंपटीशन कैसे है? आप कंपटीशन मीन्स किलिंग अदर पर्सन. एंड हाउ डू यू किल अदर पर्सन? लिटरली यू विल टेक अ गन एंड किल. You will be in jail. So you can kill a person either through your muscle power or through your mental power, mind power. स्मार्ट इंसान क्या होता है? दिमाग से काम लेता है. बेवकूफ इंसान क्या होता है? हाथ से काम लेता है. तो हमको क्या करना है? दिमाग को बिल्कुल इतना ज्यादा शार्प कर देना है. आपको या स्मार्ट पर्सन की कोई डेफिनेशन नहीं दे सकते तुम लोग. हैव यू सेड एनीवन यू आर एक्टिंग स्मार्ट? स्मार्ट पर्सन मीन्स हु नोज how to make use of others. And a foolish person get used by others. True. तो तुमने कभी ऐसा किया है? क्यों नहीं किया? When you can't survive in this world without being smart, why you have chosen or not to be smart? So here smart means I will use someone else's time for me. So I studying something for 6 hours. Let's say you study book of D.D. Basu for 6 hours. And what you get out of it? And you are studying in the class, I teach you in 2 hours. What you get? You are saving time. You are using my expertise. You are using my time for your purpose. You should know, and you should also know whose time you should use. A person who is worth it. a person who knows and who is accomplished in that area. Fine. So it is always good to go for classes until and unless there is a financial issue. You should take classes, and you should take classes where teachers are those who are worth it and those who are accomplished in their field. So you will see, like here we have a team of good teachers. Right now ma'am is there, some are there, some are not, and you can understand. And again, how should you start your preparation? First, I said, and what you have to prepare. It's not that you have to just develop a knowledge of something until and unless you don't know application of that knowledge. So you also have to develop the skills, because even if a student know the nature of questions are such that the difference between the two options in prelims questions is such a minute that until unless your understanding is very sharp, you will not be able to do that. Plus, the rule of the competition is you can't prepare in your own pace. Okay? And along with knowledge, lot of skills will also be required. And most important thing when you do anything is stay calm. Don't be anxious. I have seen students from the very day they will do everything. I have to do current affairs, this, that, and ultimately in the end they are unable to do anything. So take a step by step approach. First is always get your basics right. If you manage one things, you will be able to manage other things. But if you will start managing everything from the start, it will be very difficult. Fine. So what is to be done? First is stage optional and your GS and basics. Let your friends keep on confusing. You are not doing current affairs, don't do it. Because things will keep on coming time and again. In my experience, I see newspaper, nothing new comes. Same old issues, problem in examination system, problem in education system, microbacterial resistance, what new comes? So, if you have limited time, your confidence will come when your basics are clear. So, first 6 months, if you can't manage newspaper, don't do it. Get your basics right properly. Okay? And here what we will be doing in the classes, you will be getting the basics, and mostly our teaching method is what? Our teachers will give you notes along with the study material, but personally speaking, we will also provide material because everybody is providing. But personally speaking, what is important is the class notes. Material, there is so much of material, but your notes have to be your notes, written in your handwriting, understood by you. That is why I always emphasize notes by the teachers in the class, and don't have lot of material just for the heck of it. In fact, when right now there is a problem of plenty, and we have to find out how to do selection, and there is so much there in social media to confuse anybody. You know, fake news, fake photos, everything is fake. So in that, the best thing is always, wherever you study, go and meet, find out. Don't go by all this social media type of things, right? Now here in the classes, in general studies classes, what is the format? We conduct a weekly test with a purpose. First, on like alternative week, we do objective tests and then we do subjective tests. Initially, the nature of questions will be very simple, because what we have seen, students have lot of difficulty in writing properly. Even they make lot of grammatical mistakes. Just now I took one essay class, I discussed one paper here. There were very minute grammatical mistakes. That creates a very bad impression. You do less, feel confident, do the things in a very smooth and in a very well defined manner. Okay. So from now, if you will start like January, February, after 5-6 months, when you develop some base in economy, some base in polity, then you can start with general studies. So after 6 months, again, you should start giving primacy to newspaper. But newspaper, no one can understand without knowing the basics. Reading for the sake of reading is useless until unless you cannot use it. Whenever you do newspaper, आज से नहीं भी करो जब तक तुम्हारा इकोनॉमी खत्म नहीं हो रहा, पॉलिटी खत्म नहीं हो रहा, मत करो. लेकिन जब करते हैं तो बहुत ज़्यादा अब टेक्नोलॉजी का हेल्प भी मत लो कि कट पेस्ट करके नोट्स बना रहे हैं, वो नहीं. जब जो आप पढ़ते हैं, what you read, what you write, only that gets registered. Cut and paste never gets registered, right? So later on what you do, take different files. You can have one for science and technology where a lot of current things come. You can have one section for economy, you can have governance, maximum current affairs comes from here. You can have one section social and other issues, and you can start collecting. But remember, whatever you have read on your own, understood, written, only that thing you will be able to use. Nothing else you will be, and it will require time, it will require your effort. Now besides this, regular classes, gradually the difficulty level of your test etc. will increase, and something more in the line of UPSC will come. So this type of tests will start happening. Normally we will start with 2 subjects at a time, not one subject one day, other subject. We want you get consolidated. And again, you should work with a strategy. Means there are 2 types of subjects. One are current and one are static. Where you should prepare more? Static portion, fine, because the chances of getting them wrong are less, fine. So for your prelims, of course, history is very important. Percentage of history is increasing. Maximum question I can see from here. I have seen equal number of questions from science technology also increasing, but that is so uncertain. So between the time I have, I will put more here than here, because this is very dynamic. So you should have your own strategy. Okay. Again, polity. Polity is current in prelims, but not that much current. More current type things come in mains. But if you see mains questions also, they are also becoming very conceptual questions. You can actually not differentiate between the optional questions and mains questions. And of course, you need to do solving of prelims as well as answer writing skill. Mains answers you cannot read even for one topic by doing only that topic, because they will ask the things in an integrated manner. Okay, so when to do what, we will be guiding you from time to time. What is the best time for you to start? Fine. You need to follow and you need to consolidate the things. Whatever is being taught, you need to consolidate it. So what I take polity, I'll take your essay paper in general studies. As far as polity, the basic book you know is Lakshmikant. That is more than enough. Otherwise, you will get everything in the class itself. You will understand, you don't require. Lakshmikant is more like a collection of facts which will not help you in mains, which can help you in prelims, but later on, only after you have understood. Even the factual questions are not purely factual questions. Okay. So, do you want to ask any question from me? Otherwise, I'll ask Kritika ma'am. She'll take history. History is a very huge portion that she will discuss what should be the strategy for history. If you have any specific question from me, do ask. Then Sahil sir is there who takes ethics, and Kokub is also here, so they take different sections. Yeah. हाँ बिल्कुल, क्योंकि दोनों अलग हैं. ऑप्शनल में गवर्नेंस नहीं है, ऑप्शनल में फैक्चुअल चीजें उतनी नहीं है, तो बेस तो है लेकिन पढ़ना तो अलग से पड़ेगा ही. प्रीलिम्स में भी तो नहीं आएगा, ऑप्शनल में प्रीलिम्स पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से थोड़ी पढ़ाया जाता है. और कोई आप पॉलिटी या इन जनरल कोई क्वेश्चन पूछना चाहते हैं? आपने कोई पढ़ा ही नहीं कभी कुछ? हाँ, तो कभी कोई प्रॉब्लम भी नहीं आई? हाँ, क्या है आपकी स्ट्रेटजी? कब से आप प्रिपेयर कर रहे हैं? अभी करना ही है. अच्छा, तो अभी किस चीज का इंतजार? कुछ भी नहीं किया दिल्ली आने के बाद? कुछ भी नहीं किया आपने? इकोनॉमी आपका बेस है क्या? आपका ऑप्शनल भी इकोनॉमी है? अच्छा, चलिए. या ओके. Length, no, that's the last criteria. What is your background? Okay, so what is the problem you are facing in political science? You don't choose by length. Just because you see the length doesn't mean you choose something which is new. And then how others are clearing? You take any subject, it will not make a difference. What will make a difference is who is teaching. A person should know his work. Fine. Just because a subject is small doesn't mean, because what you see every year, this year itself, around 300 students have qualified for mains. I don't see ki anywhere this has been happening. Every year 100 students are on the list. So it's not that which subject or wherever you go and study, it will definitely make a difference. You are studying from whom. So good teacher who knows his work, you can go with that. And of course your interest. Length is not, any subject can go to any length. UPSC syllabus is just indicative. Okay? Anything else? मैथ्स छोड़ दो, छोड़ दो. जहां पे टीचर नहीं है, गुरु बिन ज्ञान नहीं, छोड़ दो. क्योंकि मैथ्स का करना क्या है, और आप ये कभी नहीं डिसाइड कर पाओगे. तो जब अपने से निर्णय नहीं हो तो किसी और से ले लो। अब पॉलिटिकल साइंस में जो मेन चीज है, या वो चीज पूरे यूपीएससी में है, वो क्या चीज है? यू शुड नो राइटिंग। तो अभी मैथ्स में या कॉमर्स में क्या होता है, थोड़ा पढ़ते नहीं है। यूपीएससी में डैफ में एक हॉबी चाहिए होती है, ठीक है? आप अपनी हॉबी बना लीजिए नॉन फिक्शन बुक्स। आप लैंग्वेज स्किल डेवलप करोगे तभी आप ऐसे लिख पाओगे, तभी आप एथिक्स लिख पाओगे, और कुछ नहीं। मैथ्स मैथ्स छोड़ दो, कोई उतना नंबर ऑफ परसेंटेज स्टूडेंट्स अपीयर, उसी हिसाब से वो रिजल्ट्स भी आते हैं। तो जहां टीचर नहीं है, मैं बता रही हूँ कि गुरु बिन ज्ञान नहीं, टीचर नहीं है, गाइड नहीं है, उसमें जाओ नहीं। जैसे इकोनॉमिक्स के साथ ये प्रॉब्लम है, आप कभी नहीं डिसाइड कर पाओगे किससे पढ़े, कोई ऐसा कॉन्फिडेंट टीचर ही नहीं है। अब इकोनॉमी में एक दो बार रिजल्ट्स आए, मान लो गौरव अग्रवाल इन सब के, उसके उन्होंने अपने दम पे लेके आए। तो जब ऐसे गाइडेंस नहीं है, इसीलिए लोग, इकोनॉमी इतना अच्छा सब्जेक्ट है लेकिन नहीं लेते। अब आज के बाद मत डिलेमा में मत रहो, अगर तुम ट्रस्ट कर रहे हो तो छोड़ दो। और लेकिन कोई भी, सब बच्चों को यूपीएससी में तभी होगा जब आपको लैंग्वेज आती हो। तो इसलिए सब लोग हॉबी बना लो, नॉन फिक्शन बुक्स पढ़ो। लैंग्वेज मतलब जैसे ऐसे अभी देखा, इतना खराब ग्रामर है कि बिल्कुल वैसे ही मूड ऑफ हो जाएगा। तो मान लो ऑप्शनल में आप लैंग्वेज नहीं यूज कर रहे हो, लेकिन बाकी पेपर्स में तो लगेगा ना। एनीथिंग एल्स? हाँ, दोनों का एक ही है, लेकिन फिर भी दोनों अलग है। आईआर की नहीं जरूरत है अलग से पढ़ने की, नहीं, वो तो उतना ही है। या यस कृतिका, या थैंक यू, या थैंक यू। Must have watched Matt's video. Have you watched? On it? Humayun. Okay. Yeah. So normally people fear history. They feel it is a boring subject, but ma'am makes it very interesting. As the review of our students.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Yeah. And
Yeah. Yeah. Good evening. How are you all? So I'm Kritika. I'll be handling GS history. So let me just brief you about, I think you are aware about the pattern, the syllabus. Just in a nutshell, I'll just brief you about this exam. We'll do it a little bit fast to give you an overview, then what to do about with history. So going on with history, going on with this preparation. See, this stage, this exam is of 3 stages, as you all know. We have preliminary, we have our mains, we have our interview or personality test. When you look at our preliminary examination, which is basically objective, mains, which is basically descriptive, and this is your personality test. Now coming on to the syllabus of prelims and mains, the first basic thing, we have something called general studies. So here in UPSC, we do not use the term GK. No one is going to ask you GK. Which year India got independence? What is the capital of Andhra Pradesh? Getting it? So that what, why, how, when. What, why, how, when. These questions are generally not asked. It is general studies. But when you look at the general studies paper, there are 4 core paper, we generally call it. The first core paper being history, the second one being geography, third one being polity, the fourth one being economics. Plus, we have our science and tech, plus current affairs, plus general science. So these are miscellaneous. Environment comes with geography. But when you look at these core subjects, these 4, we call it as the core of GS. So if a student is thorough with polity, economics, history and geography, 85% you've almost covered. So the remaining is all your current affairs, your science and tech, miscellaneous here and there. So you should be a master of these 4 subjects, which is mandatory. So I teach history here. So I teach the entire history GS, plus I teach history optionals also. So but going on to general studies here with history. Because the first time, people see or they hear history, generally people get generally they get a fear psychosis. Because being a history teacher for the past 15 years, I could feel that, people do ask me, what do you teach? So I tell them I teach history. The first reaction would be, history? You teach history? I'm like, yes, I teach history. It's like, it's tough. So there's a general misconception that this history is tough. History is lengthy, history is broader, history is bigger. But when you look at UPSC, if you study history in a systematic way, history is the easiest GS paper. I even call it as the dumbest paper to all my students. Why? Because it's a factual subject. So if you thorough your history, so let me brief you about how is this history going to help you. So when I take this history for our GS, general studies, so I cut it as number 1, we have our ancient Indian history, followed by medieval Indian history, and there is a paper called Art and Culture. There's a paper called Art and Culture. Then we have modern Indian history. Then we have post-independence history. And then the last one, we have world history. So when you look at for prelims, the first 4 is for our prelims. So you cannot skip ancient, medieval, art and culture, and modern. So what is ancient? See, there's generally something like, know your history, you know you. Study your past, you create a better future. So you should know, say for example, today we are talking about temple construction, isn't it? The Ram temple construction. So when we go back there, so why is this issue coming up? So Babri Masjid. So who constructed it? Was it Babur or was it Babur's governor? So where did the issue crop up from? Does Babur write this in his memoirs? Was there a temple? So are you getting it? So we as a student of history should know the background. Who built the Kashi Vishwanath temple? Who built the temples of Hampi? So we all know who built Taj Mahal. Getting it? So the basics. So as a student of history, there's a topic called architecture. So in the part of architecture, you should know like who constructed Sanchi Stupa, the Great Bath of Indus Valley. So these are some the Qutub Minar. How many rulers are associated with Qutub Minar? Who laid the foundation? Who completed it? Who repaired it? Simple. So why is Humayun's tomb cherished more than Taj Mahal? So as a student of history, you should know that. So why Akbar plays a very important role, not Aurangzeb? Why Ashoka? Why not Chandragupta Maurya? Why Krishnadeva Raya? Why not Narasimha Varman? Are you getting it? So these are the famous rulers. Maybe I think these rulers are kind of popular. I generally pick the popular rulers. So it is mandatory for every student to know history from the top to the bottom. So you're ancient to be thorough. So I generally start from the scratch. My classes will be from the basic. So I start with ancient. Then in between I add the art and culture topics. Then I go with medieval, then modern, then post-independence, then world history. Because history, it shouldn't be like you learn modern first, you learn art and culture, you learn world. No, we don't believe in that approach. Why? Because everything to be studied in a structured way. It should be organized, it should be in an orderly way. So my classroom teaching would be, I write and teach the same way how you see it. So it will be like that. So I'm going to teach it in the same pattern. It will be a kind of a Gurukula pattern. So the same way I'll be teaching, but all the concepts would be dealt in the class. So after each topic, say for example, I teach you Indus Valley Civilization. Immediately I'll be discussing the PYQ. Immediately I'll be giving you a new set of questions. So you should be able to answer all of them in class. Plus I give some home assignments also, so that the entire Indus Valley Civilization is thorough. Then I go to chapter number 2, the Vedic age. Who are the Aryans? Where did they come from? Because today there's a debate going on with the original homeland of the Aryans. So what is Rig Veda? When was it written? Who wrote Rig Veda? So what are Vedas first? What are Smriti? What is a Shruti? So all these I'll be teaching you with the topic called the Vedic age. Then we go on with the rise of Mahajanapatas. So things go on like that. So history, it's not like other subjects like you pick topics and you teach, because it will not work. History comes in an orderly way. And if you look at our prelims, minimum 15 questions to maximum, we get 20 questions in prelims. So when you take minimum 15 questions, let's take 30 mark, each 2 mark. If it's 20 question, you'll get 40 mark. So on an average, for prelims, it is for 35 marks. Imagine. See the weightage of history. Those days are gone. So getting it, those days are gone. Only like hardly we get one question in ancient, one in medieval. But now we are getting more in ancient, medieval, art and culture plus modern. So you can't skip history. When you take all these, this comes in GS paper 1, which is for 250 marks. And in this 250 marks, when you split this 250 marks in GS paper 1, 120 plus is history. So how can you skip history? So those days are gone, as I told you. When I was preparing, my friends, my seniors used to tell me, because my academic background is history. So I was teaching in Madras University. So I was a professor. So history was a cakewalk for me. But my seniors, my friends used to tell me history, it's tough. But what is the point? The subject is tough. But once you study, you make it easy. Which subject is not tough? All subjects are equally tough. But how do you make it easy? You make it easy when you start preparing it. See, for me, I found few subjects very tough. But you can't run away from this exam, because when you choose to write this exam and when you really want to clear this exam, you have to give your 100%. So how do you make your 100%? We teachers come into the picture. A student will not know how, what, when, why, where. But the teacher would know where, how, what, why. So the biggest role of we teachers is to tell you what not to do, instead of what to do, because everyone knows what to do. Everyone knows what to do, but people do not know what not to do. Because we teachers guide you. We tell you, some students, they read umpteen books. They read as many as books possible. They ask me, ma'am, should I read Bipan Chandra? Should I read Spectrum? Should I read Grover? Should I read how many? Where is the time for that? So we teachers read it. So I read all the books, and my class notes will have Bipan Chandra. My class notes will have Spectrum, isn't it? So what is the point of you reading? Then why are you here? That is my strategy. I believe in a simple approach. Come, attend the classes, take all your doubts in classes, get your doubts clarified, make yourself to understand the topic and the subject first. Then when you leave, the topic should be thorough. This is what I've been doing it for the past 15 years. So this is what I see my students also knowing history in a right way. I believe in a very simple, straightforward approach. So we'll be doing everything in a formatted way. So literally I can tell you even more. It'll be like I'm spoon feeding you. So my classes would be like that only. So we'll be doing all of them there. And 120 marks, you can't skip. 40 marks if you say. See, last year there were 21 questions in history. So imagine 21, 42 marks. So 42 marks you clear. You take some polity, some geography, some economics, history. And it's a factual subject. One advantage of this subject is factual. But should I go factual? No. You should go conceptual. Our facts are not important. When did Shah Jahan construct the Taj Mahal is not important. If I ask you, we need not mug up the year. 1633, Shah Jahan began the construction of Taj Mahal, not at all. But I'll be giving you the year. But the question is, why did Shah Jahan build the Taj Mahal? As a layman's answer, it will be like love. But we want the history answer. Why did Shah Jahan construct Taj Mahal, right? Common layman would say anything. But what is the exact fact? Because it shows the power of the Mughals, isn't it? It shows the economic stability of the Mughals. It withstands the polity of the Mughals. So this is how we contemplate. So this is how you study history. History should be studied with liveliness, with interest, and there's no choice because GS is compulsory. See, optionals, at least you have a choice to choose whether you want it or not want it. But GS, you have no other choice. You have to study. So we are here to make things lighter, to make things easier. So the same applies with history optional, because in history optional also, as ma'am said, it's an integrated course. When you do your GS, you do your optional. And as ma'am said, optional and GS overlaps. So when you see polity, PSIR. When you look at history, again, history. When you look at geography, geography. See, optional should come with your interest. You like mathematics, you love the subject like anything else, please go on. Are you getting it? So be smart enough to understand. You need to, the idea is not to, be a scholar here. I tell my students, I'm not here to make you scholars of MA. Enough. IGNOs are there, DUs there, JNUs here, or come to Madras University, we are there. Getting it? So I'm from Tamil Nadu. So we are not for that. We are here to make you understand. We are here to make you get marks. Getting it? So ultimately my classes, and I always tell students, know the purpose why you sit here. Need not know everything. Know what is required. Give that what is required. Clear the exam. Go, run, go. Clear the exam and go sit. Because the purpose is only that. I can teach history for months. But why? What is the point? I can teach it and grind Akbar for 2 months also. Like what we do in college. Akbar we teach for 2 months. Here, 20 minutes stuck. Akbar is over. So we finish. So know the speed, know the limit, know what is what. Hope you get the understanding. So don't try to know that you should know everything. Google, internet will take you, it will misguide you. I generally tell students, go with quality books, go with standard books, go with teachers. Google, Wikipedia, things, can see people speak everything. And particularly when coming to history, it's even more like, everyone behaves as if they're historian. They come and ask, ma'am, Akbar did this. I'm like, why are you bothered? Do you want to know what did Gandhi have? How many roti he had when he started the Dandi March? Yeah. Why do you want to know what roti did Gandhi eat? Did he have idli or dosa? No. How many wives Ashoka had? Why are we bothered? Why are we? Are you getting it? So are you getting where are we going to go? Dandi March, which year? How many miles? Where did Gandhi reach? Was Gandhi arrested or not? Who took the movement? What happened to Gandhi? We are done. Simple. So this is the speed. This is what UPSC requires. So prelims, it's going to be factual plus conceptual. So conceptual is very important because it's static subject. History is not going to change. You study once, it's going to stand with you. See, I studied history long back. After my 12th, my graduation is all history. Akbar is going to be Akbar. Babur is going to be Babur. How do you update Akbar? How do you update Babur? Nothing. So you study the subject will stand by you. I call this subject as a life jacket. It's a lifeboat. It's a lifesaver. Why? Because it's a factual subject. So need not worry about history. History is going to be as easy as it is. And it's going to be interesting as well. Because I always believe in taking the classes and the subject in an interesting way. Because, the myth, I generally break it. People say it's boring. I say, no, it's not at all. Are you getting it? And when the paper is been in much depth, how could it be boring? How will stories bore you? Tell me. So we all are grown up with hearing stories. Once upon a time, there was a king. Why do all our stories start with king? Why? India was a land of monarchy. We had kings, right? Raja irundar. So we say that only, right? All stories in your vernacular, we start with kings only, right? So why? Because history. So classes go like that and we add some facts here and there and we compare. Without knowing the connection, you can't study the subject. So everything is a connected part. So till independence, it's all connected. Then we start with post-independence. What happened with Jawaharlal Nehru as a prime minister till Narasimha Rao? Because the syllabus gets over. It starts from 1947 to 1991. LPG, I hope you all were born after 1991. So you all are LPG kids. So getting to what happened, so you need to know what is Operation Blue Star, Janata Party, Indra O, Indra I. Are you getting India? Congress O, Congress I. So what is Smiling Buddha? What is Pokhran? ISRO? Green Revolution? Who started it? Why? What is MTNL? BSNL? Who started it? Why was Rajiv Gandhi assassinated? I hope you know them. But as a teacher, it's my duty to tell you the detail so that it means you're able to write. Simple. And don't you think we should know them? We should know them. Who was Morarji Desai? Why did he fight with Indira Gandhi? What was the tiff between both of them? So we need to know how many members were there in Nehru's cabinet. So you should know, what did Akbar do? Why Akbar is always called the Great? Why not Babur? What did Chandragupta Maurya do? What did Akbar, Ashoka do? So who's Krishna Deva Raya? There was a 12.5 mark in one of the mains. Write a note on Krishna Deva Raya. Which means what? We all know him, Vijayanagar ruler. What is the period? Which year did he rule? What did he do? Who's Tenali Raman? Have you heard? So I'm not scaring you. I'm just telling you in a nutshell. I'm picking up famous personalities. But what all I spoke to you, we're going to arrange them in an orderly way and study. Because history to be studied in an orderly way. It's the mother subject. It's the, biggest subject of all the core. So this is about history. So all the very best. So my part is history, so it comes in general studies. So optionals, that's a different game. And in optionals, we have the same ancient, medieval is paper 1, and modern and world is paper 2. So we don't have art and culture and post-independence in history optional, which means GS history is bigger, optional is smaller. So that's how history goes. So it will be repetitive. My optional kids used to tell me, ma'am, you teach the same thing. Yes, how will I teach Akbar? Maybe the depth is more in optional. We do Akbar's Deen Ilahi in detail, Akbar's Mansabdari in detail, Akbar's Rajput policy in detail. Little bit of depth is required because it's optional. And it's a game changer. You know, it's for 500 marks. That's the only difference. Else it's going to be the same. So I wish you all the best. Choose wisely. And once you get into the field, particularly for preparation of UPSC, know things. It's like playing a game. And when you play a game, you should know the rules of the game. So know the rules, talk to the teachers, get yourself in a right hold, and then begin the journey. So thank you so much. Now the next teacher would brief you about how to just proceed and go further. Anything you want to ask me? Yeah, a little bit. I generally I speak fast. I write fast. I tell students like catch me if you can. Maybe I can little bit slow down. But when I teach concepts, I'm little bit slow because I don't teach in Hindi. My medium is typically English, and I come from the land of Tamil Nadu. I do not know Hindi as well. So I go on with very simple English. I can slow down a little bit, yeah. So today it was just, you know, you're seeing, it's just because I thought I'll be like tuck, 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 move. I'm even more faster, but we'll see it, yeah. I can slow down, but let's see. Yeah, thank you. Anything you want to ask about history? Clear? All fine? Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. See, there are some books, but generally I tell students to refer NCRT. I give them 3 NCRTs for ancient, medieval, modern. And with my classes, you need to have a hold of one book. And it's an old NCRT. So art and culture, I tell them to rely my notes because I give everything. I make students write everything. I make students draw everything. My students who draw Qutub Minar, they will draw the stupa. They'll know to draw all the temple. I make you draw everything because architecture, 2 marks, we have diagram. So you need to draw simple sketch. Getting it, so not to worry. So you need to learn everything with the teacher. So I ask students to rely on my notes plus one book for reading. So that, you know, you get a feel that, you know, you read a book and you get it. Then you solve the PYQ and get a new set of question bank, anything from the market. You try to solve it, you'll be able to. Because concepts are going to be clear. It's very simple. It's a very straight subject, right? Akbar would be Akbar in all the test paper. If you know Akbar thoroughly, you'll be able to take Akbar. So I'll be giving some books in class. Once the course begins, so first thing I'll brief about the subject, then I would tell you what books to buy. I'll be a little bit slow, yeah. Because I've been hearing this for a long time. I'm a little bit fast, yeah. Anything else? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. So Sahil sir will talk to you about how to go on with ethics and other paper. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi everyone. A very good evening to all of you. Good evening, good evening. Okay. So myself Sahil and I shall be dealing with ethics GS paper number 4. Okay. So first of all, I would like to brief you about ethics GS paper number 4, that what is the nature of this particular paper, what UPSC expects from the aspirants when they are writing GS paper number 4, what has been the pattern vis-a-vis the ethics paper 4 is concerned, and then you can ask your doubts with respect to the ethics paper number 4, whatever doubt you have. Okay. Now, first of all, just tell me that how many of you have at least read the syllabus of ethics? How many of you have read ethics syllabus? Okay, 1, 2. Okay, only few students. So others, you haven't read the ethics syllabus. Chalo, that's great. Okay, because ठीक है, so I can show off more. ठीक है, क्योंकि अगर पता है तो okay, you will not appreciate it. Okay, anyhow. चलो, so when we talk about ethics paper, first thing that I would like to point out here that ethics, integrity and aptitude. Ethics, integrity and aptitude. GS paper number 4. Now this is the newest edition in UPSC CSE paper, the syllabus that got changed in after 2013. And often when we talk about this particular paper, first of all, the impression, aspirants, they have a kind of a fear. The aspirants, they have a kind of a fear, they have an apprehension that God knows what they are going to ask in this particular paper. But first thing that you need to understand is that this paper just tests whether you are a good human or not. Whether you are a good human or not. Okay. Now understand this particular thing. That when we talk about, for example, one incident I would like to talk about, Sardar Patel. So when he was addressing the first batch of IAS probationers in the Metcalf House in Delhi, he referred to the IAS officers as steel frame of India. He referred to the IAS officers as the steel frame of India. Any idea why? Any idea why? Because when we talk about steel, you know, steel has a particular quality that it can take a lot of pressure, but it will not break under that pressure. It has a distinct resilience, can take pressure but will not bend, will be flexible enough. So civil servants, IAS officers were expected to be the steel frame who can bear the aspirations, ever rising aspirations of this nation, who can work in scarcity, can work under pressure but will not break. Okay, because when we talk about the India of 1947, a lot was to be done, but so less resources were there. So you need people who can have that resilience. So therefore, civil servants, IAS officers, they were referred to as steel frame of India. But 75 years down the line, we see that there are so many scandals, scam, embezzlements that are coming to the newspaper every day, that often it is said that the steel frame got transformed in steel frame. Okay, that steel frame got transformed in the steel frame because of the high level of corruption that are there in the services. So the first thing that is needed is that when you selecting the officers, you need to ensure that the people you are selecting, do they know the basics of ethics? Do they know the basics of morality? Do they know that what values are? It will be a later thing that whether they follow or not, but first of all, they should know what ethics are, they should know what values are. Are you getting it or not? For example, we have a great personality by the name of Socrates. You might be knowing him. The great Greek philosopher. He gave a concept of moral intellectualism. He gave a concept of moral intellectualism. In this concept of moral intellectualism, he explained this particular thing, that often people do bad, often people are unethical because they don't know the good. Because they don't know good. If you teach people good, they will not be bad. Is it clear or not? So, because people don't know good, they do bad. So at least if the young aspirants, they know what ethics are, what morality is, what good values are, what is expected, there is a chance that they might stay ethical in the course of their services. So therefore we need a separate paper which aims to test that whether you are a good human, whether you are a good citizen, and if you are a good human, good citizen, there is a possibility that you will be a good administrator. Are you getting? This is the objective of this particular paper. Okay. Now, when we talk about ethics as a discipline, okay, there are certain keywords, theories in an academic sense. We need to read it. That is a different side of a story. But basic objective is this only, to test whether you are a good person or not. Okay. Now, when we talk about the ethics GS paper, often students have this apprehension that the paper is difficult. Some say that it is very difficult to score marks. Some people think that you have to talk about a lot of philosophies. You have to show a lot of gyan if you have to get the good marks. But no, that is not a right understanding. This paper is different, but not difficult. Why different? See, you have read history, geography, polity somewhere down the line. At least in school, you have read geography, you have read history, you have read civics. Okay, in social sciences, you have read polity. If you are a student of humanities in your college, you have read most of the subjects. But ethics, you have not read. 99.9% have not read ethics as a discipline in their school or as well as college. So because this paper is different, we confuse it with difficult. Because humans, they always had this particular kind of a thing, that whatever is unknown, they always have a fear of that thing. Are you getting it on why humans they fear, why a lot of people they fear darkness? Because in darkness there could be a lot of unknown things that could be there. So it is a fear of unknown. And that same thing has transpired with ethics paper, that it was a different thing. So people confused it with difficult, but it is not at all a difficult kind of a paper. Rather, it is a very it is a paper which will actually not enhance you in basically only in the civil services. It not will only be helpful, it will enhance you as a human. It will help you to be a better version of yourself. Now moving on, when we talk about ethics paper, first of all you need to understand that this paper has been derived from 3 subjects, that is philosophy, psychology. Particularly when we talk about the psychology, it is the social psychology, and then public administration. First of all, it does not mean that if you have an optional, it will be super helpful, or if you don't have this optional, you will be at a disadvantage. No, because orientation of a philosophy as a core subject and orientation in ethics will be a little bit different. For example, in total, we have 8 units in ethics paper. To be very precise, we have only 7 units because the 8th unit is case study. So these 8 units have been derived from these 3 subjects largely. For example, just to give you example, there is a chapter of attitude, there is a chapter of emotional intelligence, which has largely been derived from psychology. Values derived from philosophy. Lessons from the life of great philosophers, thinkers, administrators, philosophy. Right to information, RTI, citizen charter. Okay, RTI, citizen charter, all these things derived from public administration. So the 7 units which you have, they have been derived from these 3 areas, and the 8th unit is a case study. And what this case study is, it is the application of whatever you have read in topic 1 to topic unit 1 to unit 7. Is it clear or not? So this is going to be the basic structure of ethics, integrity and aptitude. Now understand this particular thing, that when we talk about ethics paper, the good thing about this paper is that actually it is very much possible to score marks in the range of 130s, 140s. And if I tell you, in the past aspirants, they have scored marks as high as 162. Okay. So my point is that when we talk about ethics paper, this paper, first of all, is going to be helpful for your essay directly. Because nowadays you know that a lot of essays, they have a philosophical undertone. So in those essays, ethics is directly going to be helpful, number 1. Number 2, the potential of marks that you have in ethics paper, that is 125 plus, 130 plus, that is something which is going to be very decisive factor in terms of your rank determination. Is it clear or not? Now, certain things that we need to understand or keep in mind while we'll be dealing with ethics. Number 1, basic theories and frameworks. Second, application of these theories and framework in civil services. And number 3, fusion of ethics with day-to-day life. This is something that you have to learn in this entire paper. Nothing beyond this. This what you have to learn in this entire paper, and that we will be learning through these 7 units plus case study that we have. Are you getting it or not? Beyond this, whatever I will speak will be the duplication of what we have discussed till now, to be very frank. You understanding? Is it clear or not? Now, certain students might have this particular apprehension that I don't have very good writing skills. I don't have any idea about philosophy. I don't have that philosophical flair in ethics paper. So for that, I would just say one thing, that you need not to worry, because nobody has that. Nobody has that. Very less students, they take philosophy in their college, and ethics, you cannot expect that anybody will be having a background for that. So everybody will be starting from the scratch. And if you come here, my basic understanding is this, that you don't have any background and you don't know anything in the ethics. So from the scratch, we will be building up the foundation, discussing the things that, first of all, what is the meaning of ethics? Okay, and from there, the advanced concepts will be built. And one more important thing is that while the classes are going on, not only we are going to see these basic things, but how they have to be applied in exam, how to use this knowledge to solve the previous year questions. Everything would be taken care of in the class. And as the class will go, so within the class, 60 to 70% questions that have come in the previous years, you will be solving in the class itself. Okay? Some questions, देखो, अभी ये जो what are these 30% questions? These are those questions which are either very generic or are overlapping with whatever we have discussed. Is it clear or not? Okay. Any question if you have from your side, you are welcome to ask. Any question with respect to ethics, any question with regard to anything here, please ask. Yes, guys. देखो, when there is no question, ठीक है, I often say in this class कि इसके दो ही मतलब है, या तो everything is clear or everything is very clear out the room, कि बिल्कुल सिर के ऊपर से क्या इतना clear है, ठीक है, because in these two conditions only there will be no question, otherwise you might have some question. So A, please ask questions. B, if you don't have question, which type of clarity it is, first type or second type, please tell me that. First type, chalo, that's good. And chalo, good, great. Hanji, any question, any doubt, please ask your doubts. Is there any book to study? A very good question. Isko samajhte thoda sa, understand this thing, that when we talk about ethics, the books that we have, for example, Lexicon is a book, Subba Rao is a book, these are some of the standard books. But in these books, there is one issue, and the issue is this, that these books were written in 2014-15. Since then, ethics paper has actually changed a lot. If you will pick up the question paper of 2013, 14 and 23, you'll find a lot of differences that are there. So my point is that, understand this thing, that when you read ethics, you have to integrate a lot of examples that are happening. Okay, and when we do it entirely from the books, often that particular thing we are not able to integrate. One. Second thing, basically the language. Point is that, suppose this thing, that history, every subject has a particular vocabulary. Okay, for example, when you talk about polity, federalism, okay, federalism, separation of power. Are you getting it or not? These are certain keywords or vocabulary of polity. Middle income trap, jobless growth, this is a kind of a vocabulary of economy. In the same way, we have a vocabulary in ethics also. Certain jargons are there in ethics. Understand this thing. These vocabularies and jargons will be used in the books, assuming that कि आपको पता है पहले से. Are you getting it or not? And there, often what happens, the students, they pick up a book, they read few pages, and after that they feel that I am not able to connect कि यहाँ पे बातें क्या हो रही हैं. Are you getting it or not? So therefore, this is the reason that I don't suggest a book कि पहले book पढ़ के आओ, because you'll read 2-3 pages, then you'll be frustrated because they'll start with this that you know that what is the basic setting, what is the basic premise of ethics. ठीक है. In the class we will be taking thorough dictations, will be taking up the thorough notes. ठीक है. उसके बाद में you will not have an appetite to read something extra, but after that if you have, I can definitely recommend you certain books. But as of now this is a limitation that I am not recommending you. But फिर भी आपको पता है, you can go for Lexicon or Subbarao, both are good books. ठीक है. तो चाहिए ही है तो ये नाम है, otherwise this is the answer. ठीक है. Any other doubt, any other question please? हाँ जी, इतना शर्माइए मत, पूछ लीजिए क्या क्वेश्चन है. कोई क्वेश्चन? ओके, चलो. ओके गाइज, ग्रेट, फाइन. Now Kokup sir will come and he will brief you about polity and governance. Okay, a good evening to all of you. Thank you.
Hi everybody, good evening. So this is the final segment finally. You guys have been sitting here for quite some time. So let me first introduce myself. So I'm Kokup Usmani and I take general studies too and governance majorly, and I've also taken polity and international relation. I take at Shubhra Ranjan IAS. So I just want to know and have an idea about where exactly you guys are placed in your scheme of things. Like, are you really freshers and you're seeking opportunities in the civil services? How is it? You have a fair idea about what this exam is all about, is it? You have a fair idea, right? So I'll just give you a brief idea about what exactly ma'am must have already talked about history. Sir would have talked about ethics and all, and Shubhra Ranjan ma'am must have talked about political science and other general studies too as well. I'll just add on to what exactly we are going to talk about in this particular session, which is going to add value to what you should be expecting from this particular examination. So first, to begin with, we already know that this examination has 3 stages of examination. First is the prelims, second is the mains, and the third is the interview. And prelims is the most dicey one. I say it to be a dicey one because the probability of clearing the examination is always very grim because of the chances of the questions that come in this examination that may work in your favor for that year or maybe not. So what happens is that you can prepare for mains, but for prelims you need a very specific strategy. And for that it is very important that you know exactly what exactly the demand of this particular examination is in terms of prelims, in terms of mains, and in terms of interview. So what happens in the prelims and subsequent stages of the examination, the previous year questions play a very significant role. Okay? So I would recommend each one of you to have a control over the previous year questions. So that is the first important thing that you need to be very certain of. There have to be various stages through which you are going to clear the examination. The first being the previous year questions, the last 10 years question paper that you should be very much well versed with. All of you, while you are studying and starting the preparation, the first thing that you should be doing is that you should have a previous year questions by your side and the syllabus. The 2 most important things that you need to do. That is the first thing. Now in the prelims stage, we find that we usually focus, there are 2 papers in the prelims stage, GS1 and GS2. The second one is the CSAT. I'm just giving you a brief idea. I know that you have an idea about it, but I'll just glide through so that you have a basic understanding of it. And the first one is your general studies paper. This one is the qualifying nature of examination, which should not be taken for granted because I've seen many people not able to qualify this CSAT 33% marks have to be brought. But it is very difficult nowadays because of the fact that people have a psyche ki bhai CSAT mein 33% lana hai. It's quite easy to do. But that is not the case. That is where the UPSC has been making things difficult. The level of the questions have been rising. And it becomes very difficult to qualify this exam because of the mere fact that you don't give enough time to this particular section of prelims. So there, I have seen so many students who are scoring really well in the first paper, but what happens is that they fail to qualify in the CSAT. So there are certain, points which you need to focus more, and this exam becomes quite objective and systematic if you have an understanding of those points. The first being the syllabus, the second being the previous year questions, and third being your preparation very specific as to what the demands of this particular exam is. So when I say prelims, your focus should also be on the CSAT, and when I say that your focus should be on CSAT, simply means that you should have solved last 10 years CSAT ka paper, and you should be giving at least 1 hour daily on CSAT. That is not too much of an ask, because a civil servant aspirant is at least expected to work for 5 to 6 hours a day. You can give 1 hour at least on the CSAT. That is going to add value. So first things first, that is how you're going to be focusing on this particular examination. Now what happens? We already know what happens in this particular examination is that we find that the number of students who typically, if I were to say apply, and the number of students who actually appear, and the number of students who are actually writing the mains in this particular examination, you should be well aware where you are landing yourself into. And now when you're fighting or when you're going for any war, you should have idea about who the elements are going to be, who you are going to deal with. So it is always helpful if you are thoroughly prepared in every aspect of things. So if you see that almost 10 lakh students, 2014, 2015, 2016, 11 lakh, 10 lakh, around on an average 10 lakh students are filling up this particular examination, and approximately we find that 5 lakh students are appearing. So that is the crowd that you don't need to worry about. Usually we keep on saying that 10 lakh log बैठ रहे हैं, उसमें से सिर्फ 1000 लोगों का selection हो रहा है. That is not the right way of looking at things. You need to understand that your competition is with just 30-40 serious aspirants. So you don't need to lose your sleep over that. You just need to be very specific that what exactly is expected from you in the various stages. Prelims में qualify करना है, top नहीं करना है. When I say that 100 questions को देख करके stress नहीं लेना है. 100 questions सारे नहीं बनने हैं. You're not going to get through the 100 questions. You need to have a very clear understanding that you need to focus on 80 questions, 85 questions, and how you're going to maneuver your way through those questions which have been given to you. तो आप ये strategy ऐसा देखो कि 5 लाख लोग apply कर रहे हैं. On an average मैं बोलूँ तो 5 lakh people are actually writing this examination. So the whole data and all obviously 50% हो जाता है. यहाँ पर भी हम लोग पाते हैं कि serious students ज़्यादा नहीं है. 50-60 हजार लोग सीरियस हैं, और उस 50-60 हजार में we find that 20,000, approximately 20,000 are writing mains. I mean, they're writing mains means it's something which is attainable. Now, one important thing I would want each one of you to have a clarity on this, कि you should be focusing on appearing in mains at least once in your first 2 attempts. एक बार तो prelims निकालना बनता है. उसका reason क्या है? Because once you get an experience of the mains, your optional gets covered. It's very important. Optional, otherwise you're always going to be laid back. हाँ भाई ठीक है, हो गया है, देखते हैं, करेंगे, सोचेंगे and all that. Once you have to write the mains, भले आपको बाद में अगर prelims ना भी निकल रहा हो, ऐसा भी होता है. It's very uncertain. So आपको जब भी एक छोटा सा window मिलेगा, you need to crack through that window then and there. But otherwise it becomes a very long journey. It becomes a sort of a trap. I'm not discouraging anybody. I'm just letting you know about what are the possibilities that you might be facing in your preparation phase. तो जल्दी जल्दी एक बार prelims निकालने के बारे में हमेशा सोचो, because that will give you access to your mains, and एक बार आपने mains दिया तो you are mentally prepared for your next prelims also. So that should be the way of handling this exam. In the first 2 attempts, at least एक बार prelims निकालना important. So this is how the stats typically looks like, and we already know about the results, and we have given some solid results over the past few years. अगर हम लोग देखें तो these have been the political science students and the general studies students of Ma'am. We find, and this is also the 2021 results which we have given, and so typically that is how we have been performing year round. When it comes to the examination, it all started primarily with Tina Dabi in 2015, she had political science option, and subsequently we have been giving the results around the year. So that is how it typically works. Now what I talked about was that this particular examination is a 3-stage process, and we find that these are the previous year questions that you need to have, which gives you an idea what all questions have been asked. So you need to be focusing more on previous year questions rather than focusing on your टेस्ट सीरीज सेकेंडरी है, पहले प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चंस को आई कैन नॉट एम्फसाइज इनफ हाउ इंपॉर्टेंट इट इज, बिकॉज यू नो द जनरल परसेप्शन ऑफ सिविल सर्विसेज इज कि भाई एवरीथिंग अंडर द सन कम्स इन द सिविल सर्विसेज. दैट इज नॉट द यू नो द राइट वे ऑफ लुकिंग एट थिंग्स. आपको सॉर्ट करना पड़ेगा कि कहाँ पे किस तरीके से ये एग्जामिनेशन को आपको निकालना है. सो दैट इज हाउ इट वर्क्स. सो वी ऑलरेडी डिस्कस्ड इन जनरल स्टडीज वी हैव 200 मार्क्स ईच होता है, और हम लोग देखते हैं फिर CSAT होता है जिसमें 200 मार्क्स लाना होता है, एंड मिनिमम 33% आपको क्वालिफाई करने के लिए लाना पड़ता है. You already talked about GS1, ma'am has already talked about the history, and there is geography, है ना? So these are the major 2 subjects which are asked in paper 1. Primarily, if I were to tell you what is being asked in the paper 1, we find that there is history of India, world geography, economic geography. This is the prelims one, paper 1. है ना? So these are the questions. You need to be well versed with the syllabus. GS1 के सारे syllabus को अपने सामने एक आपको paste करके रखना है, and you need to go through every single thing that is written about it very specifically. You have to be very specific because this will be your guideline to clearing this particular exam. अगर आप देख रहे हो तो ठीक है. और पेपर 2 आपका CSAT का होता है, जहाँ पे majorly it is going to be about comprehension. आप लोगों में से किसी ने CAT दिया है कभी क्या? क्या बैकग्राउंड रहा है मेजरली आप लोगों का? लाइक इज देयर एनी इंजीनियर्स इन द हाउस? एनी कॉमर्स बैकग्राउंड? ह्यूमैनिटीज? आपका क्या रहा है? सारे पॉलिटिकल साइंस? BSc? DU? Who are from the DU? Delhi University. You are from? नहीं, you are from which college? अच्छा, you are from भागल यूनिवर्सिटी. ठीक है. और कौन कौन है बिहार से यहाँ पर? गुड. बिहार में एक जज्बा है, अच्छा निकालने का एक जज्बा होता है, which is a good thing. और ये यूपी से कौन कौन है यहाँ पर? अच्छा, सारे यूपी, बिहार एंड यूपी का एक क्राउड रहता है. यू आर फ्रॉम आल्सो बिहार, बट यू डिड नॉट रेज द हैंड. ठीक है. डिड यू रेज योर हैंड? ओके, ऑलराइट. ठीक है. तो हमारे में एक जज्बा होता है कि भाई यूपी और बिहार के हैं तो हम लोग एग्जाम तो निकालेंगे ही, तो वो टेंडेंसी कायम रखो. बट एक इंपॉर्टेंट चीज जो मैं बताना चाहूंगा यहाँ पर, कि एक टाइम फ्रेम अपने लिए सेट करो. What is the problem with most of the aspirants is that they haven't created a time frame for themselves. ये एक endless trap नहीं होना चाहिए. कोशिश करना चाहिए कि आप 2 साल के लिए आए हो, 2 साल में आपको जान लगा देना है. और जब मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि जान लगा देना है, that simply means that you need to be very specific what is expected to be studied and what is something which is meant to be left. What is the syllabus asking you to do? What is one source that you need to focus on? What has been the strategy of the toppers in the past? How the best mentors which are out there in the market are guiding you through the various stages of examination? You need to have that. आपको इस पूरे जर्नी में एक अच्छे मेंटोर की जरूरत पड़ेगी. You need to have a good mentor. अगर आपके घर में if there is somebody who has cleared this examination at any stage, then you will find that you cannot get a better mentor than that person. You can learn from others' mistakes. The life is too short to be committing the mistake yourself and then learning from it. समझ में आ रहा है? तो जो भी गाइडेंस आपको जहां भी मिले, get through that guidance. तो ये सारी चीजें पेपर 2 में अगर आप देखो, we have logical reasoning, analytical ability, decision making, problem solving. It's like क्वांटिटेटिव एप्टीट्यूड समझ में आता है. मैथ्स के क्वेश्चंस हल्के फुल्के क्वेश्चंस होते हैं, थोड़ा भी उनका डिफिकल्टी बढ़ा दिया है. कई बार ऐसा भी लोग बोलते हैं कि भाई CSAT की जगह S हटा दिया है, CSAT को CAT बना दिया है. ठीक है. जनरल परसेप्शन हो गया है कि टिपिकली वी आर सॉर्ट ऑफ रिलैक्स्ड कि CSAT का पेपर है. भाई अब ऐसा हो गया ना कि थोड़ा सा डिफिकल्ट कर दिया है, और जरूरी भी है करना, क्योंकि सब इग्नोर करके जाते हैं. 33% क्या है, आ जाएगा. 66 मार्क्स है ना. 66 आउट ऑफ 200 लाना है. बट ट्रस्ट में अच्छे इंजीनियर्स जिनका मैथमेटिक्स बैकग्राउंड ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्ट करता है, दे आर नॉट एबल टू क्लियर दिस पर्टिकुलर एग्जाम. सो बी वेरी सॉर्टेड. आई एम जस्ट letting you guys know where exactly are the problematic areas which you are going to face, है ना. That is what the mentors do. So that is one thing that you need to be very specific about. 10 years के question solve करके जाओ and 1 hour every day give to the CSAT. ठीक है? Which brings me very specifically to the mains examination syllabus. Mains require a very specific preparation. It cannot be just prelims, just mains, or just interview. It has to be integrated. It has to be integrated. While you are preparing for prelims, you have to be studying about mains together. And that is why it is known as an integrated approach that you need to have. Now, what I mean by when I say that is that it is an application based question. एप्लीकेशन जो भी आपने पढ़ा, मान लो ये स्टडीड लक्ष्मीकांत, कभी किसी ने नाम सुना है लक्ष्मीकांत का? लक्ष्मीकांत को बाइबल ऑफ GS2 बोलते हैं, पॉलिटी बोला जाता है कि इट इज कंसीडर्ड एज द बुक, बट प्रीलिम्स के लिए ही वो वर्क करता है. मेंस में आपसे एप्लीकेशन बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस पूछे जाएंगे. हाउ आर यू गोइंग टू गो थ्रू दिस पर्टिकुलर एग्जाम? दो स्टैटिक कॉन्सेप्ट्स हैव टू बी एडेड ऑन विद द न्यूज़पेपर. Newspaper has all the current affairs which comes, which is nothing but the application of all that you have studied in the prelims. So never have that wrong perception ki bhai if you have become prelims ready, you are going to crack the mains. Mains is a different ball game altogether. That is why I am saying get a taste of mains once in the early stages of your preparation. You will get a fair idea ki questions kahan se pooch rahe hain, kya questions पूछे जा रहे हैं. So that is very important, है ना? Static and dynamic portions. Mains is about static plus dynamic. And what I mean by dynamic is current affairs. What I mean by dynamic is current affairs. And the source of current affairs is newspaper. If I were to very specifically tell you which newspaper, then there are two newspapers which are considered really good. One is Hindu and one is Indian Express. One is Indian Express. पढ़ना शुरू कर दीजिए, पढ़ना शुरू कीजिए, एक आइडिया रखिए कि क्या हो रहा है आपके इर्द गिर्द, कैसे चीजें चल रही हैं. यू विल ऑल्सो हैव टू स्टडी वन ऑप्शनल. ऑप्शनल इट हैज टू बी वेरी सॉलिड. आपका ह्यूमैनिटीज है ज्यादातर लोगों का, पॉलिटिकल साइंस आई मीन इट्स वन ऑफ द मोस्ट स्कोरिंग ऑप्शनल. तो गेट योर ऑप्शनल रेडी. सो सपोज इफ यू आर राइटिंग द एग्जामिनेशन फॉर 2025, आई एम जस्ट गिविंग एन एग्जांपल. So 2025, if you're writing the examination, say in the month of May 2025, है ना? By December 2024, your optional should be ready. Typically saying, your optional should be ready and you must have given test series once. एक बार test series दे दिया, 8-10 सवाल, 8-10 test paper solve कर लिया. Keep it aside and keep on revising it. As soon as January hits, you know, the proportion of optional and the proportion of prelims you need to mix in. पहले क्या है, ऑप्शनल को ज्यादा पढ़ना है, जीएस को थोड़ा सा अपने न्यूज़पेपर के साथ फॉलो करते रहना है. लेटर ऑन इंक्रीज द प्रोपोर्शन ऑफ प्रीलिम्स एंड डिक्रीज द प्रोपोर्शन ऑफ ऑप्शनल. जैसे जैसे प्रीलिम्स आता जाएगा, प्रीलिम्स सेंट्रिक अप्रोच को बढ़ाते जाना है. यू विल कम ड्यूरिंग योर फेज ऑफ प्रिपरेशन दैट आपका ऑप्शनल कवर नहीं हुआ है, सिर्फ आप प्रीलिम्स पढ़े जा रहे हो. अवॉइड दैट सिचुएशन. There will come a situation wherein you will feel कि भाई मैं prelims पढ़ा जा रहा हूँ. भाई लिखने की habit डालनी पड़ेगी आपको mains में. Over here you need to solve previous year questions. Write it down. What is going to happen that many people who are here, they will not be very comfortable writing things down. If I tell you कि भाई अभी मेरे को एक essay लिख करके दिखाओ 100 words का या 200 words का, just give you an example, या एक आंसर लिख के दिखाओ, you're going to struggle. Struggle करो, कोई बात नहीं, एकदम ही बेकार आंसर लिखो, डज नॉट मैटर, बट कीप ऑन राइटिंग आंसर्स. लेटर लिखने का एक जो कल्चर होता था लाइक 15 years back, 10 years back, that has already died down. I would recommend write down blogs if possible. Write down something as an article. कुछ लिखने की आदत डालो, कुछ भी जनरल अपने इर्द गिर्द, how you are feeling, what your perspective is towards a certain thing, है ना? That is very very important मेंस निकालने के लिए. ठीक है? जो मैं टिपिकली पढ़ाता हूं वो है आपका पेपर 2. अगर मैं देखूं जनरल स्टडीज 2, सॉरी पेपर 3. सो दिस इज योर जनरल स्टडीज 2. पेपर 3 जनरल स्टडीज 2. So we are going to talk about governance, we are going to talk about constitution, we are going to talk about polity, we are going to talk about social justice, we are going to talk about international relation. International relation आपको optional में भी पढ़ना है, you have to study in the optional as well. Political science में अगर आपका है तो you have to study PSIR, political science and international relation. तो जनरल स्टडीज 2 में या पेपर 3 में आपको ये फेस करना पड़ेगा, है ना? सो ये सारी चीजें हैं जो आपको हम लोग पढ़ाते हैं GS2 में। आपको हिस्ट्री में मैम ने बताया होगा कि किस तरीके से, जनरल साहिल सर ने बताया होगा कि किस तरीके से जनरल स्टडीज 4 कैसे पढ़ा जाता है। जनरल स्टडीज 3 इज अबाउट साइंस, व्हाट इकोनॉमिक्स एंड ये साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी, ये सारी चीज़ों के बारे में, इन्वायरमेंट, डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट, दिस ऑल यू हैव टू स्टडी इन जनरल स्टडीज 3 एंड देन कम्स योर ऑप्शनल, देन कम्स योर ऑप्शनल। सो ऑप्शनल इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, है ना। तो आपको ये सारी चीज़ों को समझ होनी चाहिए कि ये सारी चीज़ें आपसे डिमांड की जा रही हैं, तैयारी उसी लिहाज से होनी चाहिए। तो ये एक इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ है जिसको समझ जाइएगा, ठीक है। अब आते हैं कि वाई शुभ्रा रंजन IAS, ठीक है। तो since I'm the one who is closing this session, it is imperative on my part as to I should be letting you guys know why Shubhra Ranjan IAS. So it is a well established thing that Shubhra Ranjan ma'am is a titan in her own field. She has created a name for herself over the past 20 plus years that she has taught. So this is something where we are very particular about certain things, the kind of rapport we share with our students. We are somebody which has the highest percentage of results, more so when it comes to political science and international relation is something we have created a reputation for ourselves. Not just that, it's something which is very affordable in terms of the quality and in terms of the experience that you get. And you get very exam centric, relevant material by your side. You are guided by the best mentors who exactly know where to pinpoint and how to make you guys understand about certain things. And we have teachers and mentors over here, and we are focused on concept building. And last but not the least, we find that under Shubhra Ranjan ma'am, we have some of the best teachers who are here, who are there to always guide you through. So I think the very early stages of your preparation, you must be having a good team who guides you. So that is, we find that the reason why anybody should be choosing Shubhra Ranjan IAS. Now, when it comes to integrated learning, it has to be a combination of general studies and the optional paper. Ma'am has already dealt with you. Shubhra Ranjan ma'am has already talked to you about, we have sociology under Upendra Gaur sir, and also anthropology we find that under Vishnu Vardhan sir. So these are the faculties for the optional. So you have choices available over here, not just restricted to political science, but we also have other optionals for the students, the history optional, the anthropology optional, sociology optional, and political science and international options. So it is very important कि integrated approach अगर रखना है तो you have a choice of the options that you want to study from. So that is something which is very important. The last thing that I'm going to talk about is that you have expert faculties over here, and we take you through the stages from basic to advanced. We have mentorship programs over here, newspaper analysis which you're going to get, and most importantly, art of answer writing like we discussed right now. Answer writing लिखना actually में इतना आसान नहीं है. UPSC में अगर आप देखोगे previous year questions तो आपको एक दिन में 2 पेपर देना होता है. सुबह में आप दोगे और शाम में भी there is a paper. So you have to write 3 plus 3, 6 hours of answer writing in the examination hall that you have to do. 20 plus 20 questions, 40 questions. First 10 questions, 150 words. Next 10 questions, 250 words. अगर आप मल्टीप्लाई करो 250 को 10 से तो 2500 और 150 को 10 से तो 1500. So 4000 words and 4000 words. 8000 words is not a joke. 8000 वर्ड लिखना है भाई आपको 6 घंटे में, तो इमेजिन कर लो, इट्स अ डिफिकल्ट टास्क. बट थ्रू समझ रहे हो ना 8000 वर्ड्स कैसे पहुंचे, थोड़ा सा सीसेट लगाओ, है ना. एक जो पेपर है ना, देखो मैं समझा देता हूँ, ये सारी चीजें ना तुमको बहुत टाइम बाद समझ में आएगी. एक बार पेपर तुम देखोगे, सो देयर आर 20 क्वेश्चंस, 10 क्वेश्चंस ऑफ 10 मार्कर्स एंड 10 क्वेश्चंस ऑफ 20 मार्कर्स, सॉरी 15 मार्कर्स, ठीक है, 15 मार्कर्स, ठीक है. सो दिस इज गोइंग टू बी 150 वर्ड्स एंड दिस इज गोइंग टू बी 250 वर्ड्स. तो अगर देखो तो टिपिकली कितना हो गया 2500 वर्ड्स, और ये कितना हो गया 1500 वर्ड्स. ऐड कर दो तो 4000 वर्ड्स, ठीक है. एंड ऑल दिस यू हैव टू डू इन 3 आवर्स. 3 घंटे में करना है. 20 सवाल है. एक सवाल को रीड करने में अगर 1 मिनट भी लेते हो, 20 मिनट्स निकल गए. तो 3 आवर्स मीन्स 180 मिनट्स. 20 minutes मान लो तुमने questions को read किया, 160 minutes. In 160 minutes, you have to write almost 4,000 words. It cannot be possible to finish this off unless you have a good writing practice. इतना detail समझने के लिए ना थोड़ा सा time spend करना पड़ेगा, लिखना पड़ेगा. You'll have to write things down, and that is where this art of answer writing comes into play. हर एक में आपको लिखना नहीं है, हर एक में कुछ में आपको डायग्राम्स बनाने होने चाहिए, फ्लो चार्ट्स बनाने होने चाहिए, है ना. हब एंड स्पोक मॉडल बना दो इस तरीके से. सेव टाइम. We find that these are the strategies that you are going to be taught through this weekly answer writing sessions which we have, है ना. ये बहुत जरूरी है, मेंस को क्रैक करना है तो ये निकालना जरूरी है ना. फिर हम लोग देखते हैं कि इंटरव्यू गाइडेंस. अभी बहुत सारे लोग जिन्होंने जो इंटरव्यू दे रहे हैं, some of the esteemed panelists of retired IAS officers, IPS officers are there in the panel who are guiding the students for the impending interview examination. So ये सारी चीजें, और लास्ट में हम लोग देखते हैं कि कोर्स रिविजन, ये सारी चीजें हैं जो आपको इस पूरे मॉड्यूल में मिलता है. ये IIT की तरह नहीं है या कोई दूसरे एग्जाम की तरह नहीं है कि रूम में बैठे और तैयारी करके मतलब निकल गया एग्जाम. यकीन मानो इस एग्जाम को निकालने के लिए आपको इंटरैक्शन करना, ग्रुप स्टडी करना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. एक अच्छा ग्रुप बनाना इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. इट्स समथिंग व्हिच इज गोइंग टू बिकम अ वेरी लॉन्ग, इज गोइंग टू बियर अ गुड रिजल्ट इफ यू हैव अ गुड टीम हु इज शेयरिंग द सेम विजन एज यू आर. जैसे शाम को कभी चाय पीने निकले, डिस्कस कर लिया, हाँ भाई क्या इशू चल रहा है अभी इंडिया में, क्या इंडिया मालदीव्स के इश्यूज के बारे में क्या तुम्हारा कहना है, व्हाट आर द पॉइंट्स. You give 5 points that how Maldives is impacting India geostrategically. How now Lakshadweep has been given relevance by Mr. Modi that he visited Lakshadweep. तो एक तरीके से लक्षद्वीप को ही क्यों विजिट किया अभी? Maldives और लक्षद्वीप के बीच का क्या इक्वेशन हो सकता है? Why India is focusing on developing this Lakshadweep? Because India और Maldives के रिलेशनशिप डाउन हुए, तो उसका इम्पैक्ट क्या होगा इंडिया पे? ये सारे क्वेश्चंस ना डिस्कशन करोगे तब दिमाग खुलेगा. समझ में आ रहा है? तो एक अंडरस्टैंडिंग व्हाई एंड हाउ rather than what. In UPSC you do not have to be concerned majorly about what's. In UPSC you need to be more concerned about hows and the whys. ये इसका और उसका इम्पैक्ट इंडिया पे कैसे है? How is it impacting India? India is always at the center of the affairs. If Maldives, if coming of the new regime may be having an anti-India stance, then who is the one which is giving the support to Maldives? And how India can counter it with its own geographic significance, geopolitical इसका जो स्ट्रक्चर है उससे इंडिया कैसे काउंटर कर सकता है ना. ये सारी चीजों को आपको समझने के लिए you need to have a thorough understanding of the concept. You need to do discussions with your friends. You need to talk about it. What exactly is your viewpoint towards a certain matter? So that is where the group interaction, peer-to-peer interaction, having a mentor who is guiding you through your thought process, how you need to think, उसका भी एक direction होना बहुत जरूरी है. You need to do smart work while you are studying the subject of civil services. So that is one thing which differentiates civil services from any other exams. You have to be more interactive. Go out and have a constructive discussion with your friends while you are studying any subject. And write it down so that you have a clarity about what is playing in your mind. So writing down is the single most important thing that you would be needed or required to do. So our course features all those things like art of answer writing. Every week you are going to be subjected to questions, 2 questions for mains, and the next subsequent week is going to be about prelims related questions. The next subsequent week is going to be about 2 more questions so that you have an answer writing practice round the year. है ना? So this is how the course is going to be featured, and typically you have to write in such pages when you exactly know how you are going to restrict yourself to this line. You don't get extra answer sheets in UPSC का exam. ये नहीं है कि आप जैसे colleges में मैम I want extra sheet तो extra sheet मिल गया, ऐसा नहीं होता है. बस limited space मिलेगा, उसी में लिखना है. अब लिखने में मान लो गलती हो गई, क्यों गलती हो रही है भाई? Because आपने writing practice ही नहीं किया है. इतना टाइम नहीं मिलेगा कि बैठ करके वहां पे आप कलाकारी कर रहे हो या सोच रहे हो, दिमाग चला रहे हो कि शायरी कर रहे हो बैठ करके. सवाल देखा, आइडेंटिफाई किया थीम, एंड इमीडिएटली गेट डाउन टू राइटिंग द आंसर्स. एंड फॉर दैट यू नीड टू डू द प्रैक्टिस इन दिस टिपिकल यूपीएससी आंसर शीट. So if it is going to be a 10 marker, you will get 2 sides, एक side और दूसरा side, एक sheet मिलेगा आपको, 2 ऐसे spaces आपको मिलेंगे for a 10 marker. For 15 marker, 3 such pages are going to be given to you. Are you getting the point? So you need to be very precise about what you are writing, how your answer structure is looking, how your answers are replete with examples, with case studies, with facts. With ये सारी चीजें आपके आंसर्स में रिफ्लेक्ट करना चाहिए. Then only your answer is going to look good. You cannot be talking about general statements, vague statements. And while you are making notes, this sheet should be used for writing the keywords. Keywords लिखना कि इस पूरे discussion में आपका जो notes आप बनाओगे, it has to be replete with the keywords. What keywords you are going to use while you are studying and revising the thing, so that once you get to the topic, those keywords are going to play a very significant role. All that you are going to learn in this art of answer writing session, which we conduct. So this is very important. Mentorship. We have got mentors. Other than the teachers who are going to take the classes, you are going to have mentors who are going to guide you through. If you have any issues with any of the sessions of the classes that take place, your mentors are going to guide you through if you have any issues, if you have any confusion. Because in this examination, while you are going to be preparing, there will come stages wherein you are going to be confused about lot many things. For that, you need good mentors, and mentoring assistance is provided through our session. And through the answer writings and the mentorship, you will find that with the subsequent weeks, in a span of 1 year, this is how your answer writing skill is going to improve manifold. So ये बहुत important चीज़ है इसको समझना. And so when it comes to admissions, so admission, the batch is going to begin on 15th of February 2024, and the timings are going to be from 5 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. So the sessions, the new batch is going to start from 15th of Feb 2024, and the time is going to be between 5 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. This is how things are going to be. This is how typically is the class that we are here in, and that is how your experience is going to be till the time you are going to be here with Shubhra Ranjan. So ये चीजें हैं, आप आइए, come and study and get engaged in some of the best environment which you can get for civil services, and get your journey of civil services started. ठीक है? So I am Usmani, I am signing it off, and I hope you guys had a good session over here, and I wish you all the best for your future endeavor. Thank you so much. Any questions? Do you have any questions? Anybody? ठीक है? Thank you.